Clarence, we are now into what feels like the 10th month of the Cowboys offseason. And you had this little title. Are we looking at now the worst Cowboys offseason ever? Dun, dun, dun. I think we could have said the same thing last year. I think we could have said and probably did say the same thing 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, with the
why is this? Hang on. Yeah. Okay, no, I want to go ahead. I want to hear that. Go ahead.
I'm just saying with the real Rich Dalrymple stuff and the Jerry Jones stuff. That's what all this. I mean, that was a bad offseason 2 years ago.
I think what fans more think about in terms of our player acquisitions, and they've just acquired nobody. They just keep letting guys in. Hang on, let me hear me out because somebody mentioned this on Twitter last night. The last couple off seasons, they let Byron Jones go in free agency. They let Randy Gregory go in free agency. They traded Amari Cooper for basically, a glass of water. They keep letting all these guys go in free agency, and the end results look the same: 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, playoffs, wild card loss, divisional round loss, wild card loss. So it's kind of pretty much been the same thing. So I don't know, why do you think this offseason is any different than the other ones when the end result has been pretty good years?
Yeah, and so on the
field, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying this isn't.
I think the draft can't get here fast enough. I mean, there's nothing to feel good about this team going forward. Even though, yes, you're 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, you still have Dak. You still have CD, you still have Micah and all the other stuff. But just from taking a pulse of the fans, they're more disillusioned than ever. There's no belief in anything they do. And from what they've done in free agency, they've done nothing.
Nothing.
They've added one player, and they've lost 4 or 5 starters. Okay. Off the field issues, you got the quarterback involved, you got the contract situations, and then you got the quarterback allegedly accused of sexual assault in the middle of all this stuff. It's just these optics of everything is just awful right now for the Cowboys.
I keep coming back to this. You're right, and they're right. They've let guys go, which is the idea of we can find that guy someplace else. And the overall aggregate whole is not going to look any different, which is good and bad. You're like, well, that's great. You're 12-5 again. And I've said it here before. Going 12-5, 3 straight years in this league more than ever is one of the more underappreciated achievements I think we've seen in these last 3 years in the NFL. It's really hard. Most teams.
No, I agree. And fans always say, well, they played in the East, so they have easy wins in the NFC East.
That's not their fault. They went out and beat them.
I agree.
I hear what you're saying. And my point is okay, that's fine. And a part that bothers me about this specific offseason is okay, guys, you're here. That's great. Congratulations. The goal is to do this in January. And there's nothing that you've done up to today that indicates that you're any better in any better position to do something in January, which you haven't done in years.
Right.
And that's the part that disheartens.
Right. And the problem here is that more is on the line this year because Mike McCarthy's job is definitely on the line. Particularly Dak Prescott's future.
Do you really believe his job is on the line?
Well, he's in the last year of his contract. Okay. He's in the last year of his contract. There's no deal going forward. And the goal is to not tread water. The goal is not to lose in the first round. How can you sign him to a contract extension if they go one and done in the playoffs again?
If they win 11 or 12 games
and lose in the playoffs, how can you bring him back?
They're gonna. Okay, hang on. Hear me out. Let's play this out. They're pretty good. They got talented guys. Dak Prescott's a really good quarterback. He was an MVP candidate for a reason. CeeDee Lamb's one of the best receivers in the game. The tight end position looks like he's coming around. Micah Parsons is a beast. They've got good play at the corners. This is going to be a pretty good team.
Oh, they're talented.
They are. But to me, the problem is I think there's this attitude amongst the brain trust, which is scary, is this idea of, you know what? God, guys, we're just a couple of bounces away, and we'll be in the title game or maybe the Super Bowl. And I'm like, guys, go watch those games. You're close, and you're a mile apart. Think about how far they are really, really from San Francisco.
Well, and that's the problem is that
the Packers'
job is on the line. They've done nothing to improve this football team, and you're not going to get it done in the draft. Just to make this a better team. You don't have enough picks. You don't have enough premium picks.
You got Trey Lance. If they go, but Clarence, if they let's just say they win 11 games, 12 wins, 4 straight years is a lot. So let's say they get to double digits, they get to 10 or 11 wins, and they win a wild card game. Which, okay, let's just be Pam optimist here, and they get that done. Do they not give him an extension?
I don't know how you can give them extension if they just get to the divisional round. They win a wild card game. I just don't know. How do you sell it again to the fans? How do you make people believe that this team, you win one playoff game?
What coach are you going to find?
Bill Belichick will be out there.
That's true. He's helping out at Washington, and I guess. I mean, I know you're joking, but he'll take the job. If McCarthy,
he'll take any job at this point.
He'll be. There's no doubt about that. But do you really think if they get the divisional round and lose 19-13 again on the road to San Francisco?
Hey, Deion Sanders might be available after they beat after they win the Big 12. Then he can draft his son. Then he can draft his son.
That's right. He's
only playing for 4 or 5 teams. The Cowboys are one of them.
Okay.